The Mark Stewart Medium Foundation Level Lectures from Mark Stewart and Devi Wolf. Mark Stewart, the Scottish medium. Devi Wolf, the smallest medium. Lectures explaining Scottish-style mediumship. The Mark Stewart Medium Network, demonstrating, discussing, and training in Scottish-style mediumship.
Opening and closing, filmed on Wednesday, the 24th of September 2025.
Okay, everybody, so thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Devi and I are both professional mediums, and we're going to talk to you about a very simple subject, and it's probably the single most important subject that you're going to ever be talked about if you're sitting in circles: opening and closing. Now, let me underline this and make a very simple caveat to that statement. If you're sitting in a Facebook circle, or if you're going to somebody's private circle, or even a church circle, and if they don't teach you how to open and close, now remember they might use different terminology.
Right.
So we're going to teach you what opening and closing is. Do not panic if you're going to some far-flung Canadian or American church and they're giving it some sitting in the power. I mean, I've heard a lot of people use that terminology. I don't like it. We wouldn't use it in Scotland, but it can mean the same thing as we're about to tell you, and it can also mean something different.
Right.
But listen to what we're going to talk about, and if that is applicable to what you're doing, don't panic. If it's not applicable to what you're doing, go back to whoever's leading that circle and resign, and find yourself a circle that you can sit in. We run one, well, we run two. We've got a development circle that you have to pay for. We've got open circles that are free twice a month. Start there, and we'll teach you the mechanics of it.
Right.
So, Debbie, you want to explain what opening and closing is?
Opening is, in a nutshell, opening yourself to be able to receive from spirit. Closing, in a nutshell, is closing yourself off so you are not bombarded with messages from spirit at all times.
Yes, absolutely. Going to ask yourself. I'm going to ask you. I'm thinking you're sitting here. I'm going to ask you 4 questions. These are yes/no questions. Do you have sleepless nights? Yes or no? Do you go to bed and you suddenly, on a regular basis, waking up during the night at the same approximate time? Could be anything, but let's say you're waking up at 3 minutes past 4 every night. Do you go for extended periods of time where you get tireder and tireder and tireder, and you then sort of collapse in a heap and have to recharge your batteries? And do you have some sort of underlying illness? Now, if you do have an underlying illness, that is not caused by being open, but it will be exacerbated by being open because your batteries are run down. So, absolutely. Someone who is the number of people that every time somebody comes into our circle, something comes out in the conversation, and I instantaneously go, this person is open. I ask them those 4 questions. Not everybody says yes to all 4, but as a general rule, they say yes to 3 or 4, 2 or 3, and most people say yes to 3 of those questions. Well, if you're open, I'm going to show you a short video, and this is effectively where you are. So just watch this 10-second video, and then I'll explain it to you. You see the woman standing in the river with her hands over her ears. And let me just rewind the video a little bit and show you what she's doing. The river represents spiritual communication. Devi, I've asked you this before, but let me just ask the question. What do you think the ratio of spirits is to humans? And don't go into a debate about reincarnation.
Like I always do. Well, there are currently how many billion of us on Earth?
Give or take about 8 billion.
8 billion. And over time, assuming nobody ever reincarnates, there's been how many? 80 billion or something?
108 billion.
Excuse me, 108 billion spirits.
Yeah. So there's about, and that's not counting miscarriages, and it's not counting children born on the other side. So as a very conservative round figure, spirit outnumbers living humans by 20 to 1. And we're not saying that every 20 spirits are all trying to speak to you at the same time, but there's a lot of them floating around, and they're all talking. And if you're open, the passing spirit goes, "Oh, hello." So there's a constant spiritual communication going on around you. Now, for various reasons, I don't care even if you think you're a trained medium, you can't concentrate on individual messages. So the woman is trying to hear the river, and look at the nice little cartoon. You maybe missed it. But there's one spirit trying to give her a specific message, and then look at her face.
But she can't hear it because everybody else is talking at the same time.
And she's not strong enough. What do I mean by she's not strong enough? Well, let me show you another video. And again, I'll explain this one after you've seen it. Now, let me just get it set up. Right, so watch this one. So just go back to the beginning. The woman is closed. There's a big mental barrier between her and the same river that's the spiritual communication. She then opens herself to the other side, and she goes water skiing, as in she hears the messages. And look at the strength of the spiritual messages. And look at her walking on water. And trust me, I chose that metaphor, this video, when I designed it. And yes, this is an AI video, before you all shout at me.
Of course it is.
When I work on stage, and when I've given 30 to 40 messages, and I've got 39 people sitting going, and I've got one person that's maybe said, "Oh, I can't take that because I wanted the message from Uncle Jimmy, not a message from Uncle Brown." And you get people like that. But you feel as though you can walk on water, and every one of those messages has been crystal clear with no issues. Why? Because your guides protect you. You're not getting bombarded. You yourself are fully charged, and I'll come back to that in a minute. So when you hear the messages, it's literally like working in a spiritual call center. The calls are coming in, you can hear them, you can redirect them to the people that need them, and we're actually doing a whole bunch of videos on that for advertising for the circles. So that'll be another video to watch in a few weeks. But that's the effect, and that's what that metaphor is about.
And now, that actually happens because I was constantly open to spirit before I met Mark, and I would get messages, but they were very weak. And as soon as he taught me how to close, all of a sudden my messages were stronger and I could understand them better.
And how long were you open for?
Oh, probably 20 years.
And what were your symptoms during those 20 years?
I couldn't sleep. I had insomnia horribly. Woke up at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning every day.
Okay.
I do have fibromyalgia, and it definitely got worse and worse and worse.
So let me show you another two metaphorical videos. The first one, and these are both representing people that are constantly open. Remember those 4 checklist questions I asked you at the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell, when I'm meeting somebody that's open, I explain to them that the medium is like a mobile phone. So you can see the woman's got an aerial on her head and she's got a battery. She's like the woman in the river, and it was meant to be the same woman, so apologies if they don't look alike. Different ethnicities. The AI is good, it's not that good. But she's constantly receiving the messages. Okay, fine. But the side effect is her batteries are getting run down. You can't receive a message. When I work on platform or stage, even if I'm giving, for example, I have just pretty much confirmed 2 church bookings in Wales, and it's going to be night after night. I am not going to be doing tourist duties on those 2 days. I'm going to be sleeping up, certainly on the second day, very long night, very long sleep in. My wife might take the car and abandon me during the day. But I will be relaxing so that I'm able to perform on the church platform for the second night of the second church. The two churches are fighting over which nights they're going to get me on, but that's another story for another day. But the point is, when you're working, you're using huge amounts of energy. And if you're open, that energy drain is constant and constant. So look at the battery monitor and look at her face. Now, don't think that this is just a wee, let me show you another metaphor video.
I think he had fun making these videos.
Oh, I love it. And did you know that our next chat is going to be 3 months talking about AI? Excuse me.
Oh, great.
3 months talking about AI. Debbie's going to go insane.
I will.
Now, AI got the ethnicity of this woman right, and I was choosing Asian Chinese because my wife is Chinese, but let's put that aside.
I like the little people in the hourglass too.
Yeah. So basically, she's hyper busy, she's hyper active, but look at her. As the days go by, as the calendar counts down, eventually she just collapses in a heap. And that effectively is what happens to you. You can feel yourself on a daily basis getting tireder and tireder and tireder. And then you just collapse in a heap for about 2 or 3 days. And you get up, oh, this is great. But you're still open. And the battery is still being run down. And it's a repetitive loop. And the time between it gets shorter and shorter and shorter. And if you've got any underlying medical condition, like, for example, I'm a type 1 diabetic, when I work, my sugar goes from here to here. I actually stand on stage with an energy drink, this one in particular. It's a British company called Lucozade, very British. It's called Boost. It's an energy drink, but it's high sugar. And I won't drink the whole thing. But suddenly, 20 minutes into the church service, I said, 1 second, grab that, put it down. I warn the chairman before I do it why I'm doing it. And the minute I say I'm a type 1 diabetic, oh, that's fine, Mark. Just get on and do whatever you need to do. But if I don't do that, by the time I'm finished with the service, I'll be ready to have a hypo because the energy level has used up the sugar in my body. So we've explained what being open and closing is. How do you open and close?
It's not the question.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. It's basically just putting yourself through a mental exercise. Now, I use a mental exercise of you picture yourself in the roots of the tree, you work your way up the roots are getting thicker and thicker, you're at the trunk of the tree, you go, it's an old tree, you go up the tree, you find the branch, you work your way through the branch, you get the branch splits, gets thinner and thinner, you get to the very end of the furthest twig, at the end of the branch, you go into the curled up autumn brown leaf, and surprise, surprise, when you're opening up, as it opens up, it turns from dark brown red to nice yellow, greeny, and you're open. The sunlight touches it. Closing is exactly the reverse. You put yourself in the leaf, you close it up, it goes autumn brown, you work your way mentally along the twig, the branch, into the trunk, down the trunk, into the roots, to the end of the roots, and Mother Gaia Earth is around you and protecting you. Right, crap. It doesn't matter what mental imagery you use. Personally, when I do it, I see myself on London Bridge at night. I'm walking across a misty London Bridge, and at the end of London Bridge is St Paul's. And before you all start shouting at me, St Paul's is nowhere near London Bridge, but it's just in my mental head. There is actually a reason I do it that I'll tell you in a second. But I walk up the steps of St Paul's and I open the big Gothic doors, and if you've never been to London, it's one of the, even if you're not a Christian like Debbie, it is one of the tourist events to go and see.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful church.
It's one of the most beautiful cathedrals you'll ever see. Anyway, I open up the doors and my guide is sitting there waiting for me, and he comes out and he tells me a joke and I know I'm open. And to close, I just do the reverse. Now, it's not actually St Paul's that I started with. There was actually a Doctor Who episode way back in the 1970s, where the Doctor's trapped in an e-verse, not the phone company in the UK, and there's these spiritual, almost spiritual beings that are running around with massive psychic powers. And this scene with big gothic doors that they keep opening up,
Right.
keep running out of, and that's really the imagery I'm using. But I just tell people it's St. Paul's
It
rather than
involves.
rather.
I actually started with the tree thing, and that always worked for me, but I've shortened it, and now it's just a lotus flower opening and closing.
Yeah, the bottom line is if you train as a medium, you will find your own imagery. You'll open and close. I mean, I can basically open and close like that. Essentially, I mean, Debbie's seen me do this. We've been speaking to somebody. Oh, this isn't real. Blah 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 blah. Prove it. Right. 1 second. Close. Don't close my eyes, but essentially, they sort of like stare into the outers, and I'm open. And before she knows it or he knows it, I've got a spirit. I'm giving them a reading, and then I just at the end of it close myself down like that. But for me, it is that fast because I do it so often. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. It doesn't matter what the imagery is. It's a mental exercise in here that you're telling your guides, I'm open, I'm closed. Now,
Right.
guides are another topic of discussion, which we're not doing tonight. Just for the moment, take it that you have spirits that work with you. Those are your guides, call them guardian angels. If you are constantly open, they're not protecting you. They're just letting spirit come and communicate with you because they're reacting to what you're doing, even if you don't know what you're doing. They might be guiding you to somebody like me or Devi to teach you how to open and close. And I probably suspect that's why we get so many people coming into our circles who don't know how to open and close. But the number of people that do come in after one circle and then send me a message to, oh, thank God, Mark, I slept for the first time.
Yes, I hear that a lot too.
I get messages like that constantly. But put that aside. If you learn the discipline of opening and closing, then your guides will react to that and they will make sure that spirit are not coming anywhere near you, and that running water noise will just completely disappear. And when you're open, your batteries will be fully charged, your guides will have spirits lined up for you. And if you do this on a regular basis, like if you say to spirit, I am going to do messages, I mean, for me, this is not an advert, but my working day for doing readings is Mondays. So I have a website called psychicmondays.com. Why? Because it's Monday. Why? Because it's psychic. Right, fine. So my guides know that I am doing readings on Monday, and my ability to I can actually do better readings on that Monday than I can at any other point in the week. I'm not saying I can't do readings other points in the week, but my guides know, right, Mark's going to be in his reading room or he's going to be on Zoom. Let's just make sure that he's supercharged and all the rest of it.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, your guides will react to your spiritual lifestyle, let's say. Yeah. Now, next important lesson, if you watch this, oh, that's great, I'll now go and open and close. Right, okay, fine. You then go back to the circles that we told you not to go to. Bad. You're sitting in a circle, you're open, and then you close down at the end of it, and you're driving around and you suddenly get a message. Why? Because it takes time for your guides and for you to develop the discipline that I was just talking about. So new people sitting in circle usually find that although they know how to open and close, that they suddenly are open at unpredicted times. So what do? You stop doing whatever you're doing, and you just very quickly, if you've got a spirit talking to you, you just quietly say, look, I'm very sorry, but I'm going to be open whenever. I'm going to be in circle whenever. I'm going to open and meditate. I'll come to that in a minute. But I'm going to be open and meditating tonight whenever. Come back at that point if it's important. And then go through the closing and literally close yourself down. Second thing that you need to do is start doing a daily or nightly meditation, especially if you're open at night, especially if you find that you're waking up at night. Again, remember I said you'd waken up at random times and sleepless nights. So basically go through an opening and closing meditation before you go to bed. Now, this is not a guided meditation, but if you go to our YouTube channel, you will find that we've got a collection of YouTube videos called guided meditation, so you can use them, and they're free. I'm not trying to sell you anything. It's a free resource. Go and use it. Or alternatively, just get a playlist on your MP3 player or Amazon Music or whatever it is you're using. Make it last for 10 to 15 minutes, mentally open. Just sit and meditate, listen to the music, and then at the end of it, close down. And if you do that before you go to bed, after or before or in place of your nightly prayers, be a good girl, good boy, do your nightly prayers, do your guided meditation. It's not guided meditation, but I'm calling it a guided meditation. And you'll suddenly find yourself closing down at night. I think that's just about all of it. We've covered all the basics.
I think that's all of it, yeah.
Can't really think of anything else. I do have a book on the subject, which you can find
on Amazon.
And it's going to be rewritten because it was written almost a decade ago, and I'm going to lower the price. Even the links in it are out of date. So, Debbie, please remind me in the next week or so.
I will try. I will attempt to remember that. Yes.
Yeah. That's about it, folks. I hope you found this of use. Second bit thing you should do is come to one of our open circles. Now, yes, that is an advert, but they're free of charge, so we are not going to get anything from it. Go to calendly.com/Mark Stewart Medium. You'll find links for all of our events. Look for the one that says Open Circle and Workshop. Click that and book yourself onto the next Open Circle. I'll put the links in with the video when I'm editing this so that you can find it. You don't have to sign up for anything other than that, but Debbie and I will teach you how to open and close. Well, the best way to learn is to actually do it instead of just treating it like a theory. That's why when you're developing as a medium, going to circles on a regular basis is so important. But that's the advert done, Debbie. I know you've got an engagement that we
I do. I have an engagement this evening. I have a rehearsal.
Okay, well, it's been a pleasure, folks. And this is just the first of a very long series of episodes that you will find on the $75 what's it called again? Patreon site. Okay. Good night.
Good night.